Take a deep breath. Now it's just you and me. Don't ignore this moment. There is something I need to reveal to you, something that could completely change the course of your life. I didn't come to accuse you. I came to wake you up. Because while you try to hide your tiredness, while you pretend everything is fine, something invisible is moving around you. And if you don't realize now, if you don't listen to me with an open heart, you may lose the most precious thing you have. I'm not talking to the crowd. I'm talking to you. Yes, with you who have come this far feeling that something inside you is being lost. With you who prays, but no longer feels. He struggles, but sees no change. That survives on the outside, but is fading inside. I see everything. I know everything. I feel the pain that you can't explain to anyone. Therefore, listen to me. Something is happening in the spiritual world right now, and if you don't wake up, you could lose what is most valuable in your life. You didn't get here by chance. I brought you myself. This moment is more important than you realize. Because there is someone, an invader, approaching your spiritual home. And it doesn't come with violence, it doesn't come with scandal. He carries no weapons, nor breaks down doors. This man enters smoothly, silently, almost imperceptibly. It disguises itself as routine, tiredness, thoughts that seem harmless. He hides in, just for today, in, no problem, in, I'll pray later. And when you least notice it, he's already inside. Sitting at your desk. Nestled in your heart. You may be wondering, who is this man? And why is he coming to me? He does not come for his possessions, nor for what is visible. He comes for what has the most value, your soul. He comes to steal your joy, to extinguish your flame, to take away your focus, your purpose, your hope. He wants to make you believe that praying doesn't change anything, that dreaming is nonsense, that believing in promises is a waste of time. He wants you to live automatically, to get tired, to conform. He doesn't need to take everything from you at once. It is enough for him to weaken his spirit little by little. The most dangerous thing is that he doesn't look like an enemy. It looks like the rest you thought you deserved, like the video you watched to relax, like the thought you accept without question. And, little by little, he will empty everything that I planted inside you. Your faith, your courage, your confidence. He doesn't take it off with force. He erases it subtly. And before you know it, the place that was once full of my presence is cold, empty, silent. But today, my child, today something can change. Today I bring you clarity. Today I make you see what was previously hidden. Because I don't want to see you being robbed in silence. I don't want you to live another day believing that this emptiness is normal. It is not. You were born to live full of my presence, my joy, my peace. And all of this can be restored right now if you decide to listen to me until the end. This video is not just another piece of content. This is a warning. It's a summons. It's an answer you've been waiting for ages. And if you understood that this word is speaking to you, comment now, I am listening, Lord. Because when you write, you agree. And when you agree with the truth, it begins to set you free. Leave this comment as an act of spiritual resistance. You're not here for nothing. There's something big starting right now, and you're part of it. You still feel it, even if you can't explain it. That strange silence that has taken over your home, that absence that you try to fill with distractions, that feeling that something is wrong, but you can't say exactly what. Well, I'll tell you. What is missing is not a new piece of furniture, a material achievement or a visible solution. What's missing is what that man came to steal. And he has already started. This man doesn't break anything. He doesn't need to. He is cunning. It comes in slowly, disguised as routine, exhaustion, daily distractions. It hides in the little permissions you give. It comes in when you exchange the prayer for other sounds. When you let the soul speak for itself. When you say you'll come back tomorrow. When you normalize the absence of my presence as if it were any phase. This is how he takes office. And it doesn't just take one part. He takes everything that is valuable. Take your joy, the one that came from within, not from circumstances. Carry your purpose, the one that gave meaning to even the most difficult days. Take your spiritual fire, the one that made your eyes shine when you spoke about me. Take your dreams, your visions, your strength. And more than that, he takes your hope. It makes you believe that it's okay to live like this, with your soul in automatic mode, with your heart in silence, with your faith erased. Many have already let him in. They didn't understand. They thought they were just tired. That it was just a phase. That they were too busy. And without noticing, they began to feed this man with the time that was previously mine. With the thoughts that were once consecrated. With desires that were once pure. They gave him space. They provided a bed. They gave a voice. And now they wonder, why does everything seem out of place? Why does my house feel cold? Why does my spiritual life feel at a standstill? But I tell you, there is still time. It is still possible to recover what was taken. There is still strength in you that this man couldn't erase. There is still a flame, however small, that can be rekindled if you decide to stand up right now. Don't get used to the void. Don't accept this coldness as normal. You were created to live in spiritual intensity, in fullness, in passion for that which is eternal. Have you ever noticed that something has changed within you? That fervor that moved you is no longer what it used to be. You no longer feel the same when hearing a promise. He no longer feels as emotional as he used to when praying. The faith that sustained you now seems fragile. But that's not your weakness. This is the result of the silent presence of this thief. He comes in and plants subtle lies. Says you're exaggerating. That this is normal. That everyone goes through this. And you start to believe. Starts to shut up. Start adapting. And without realizing it, it takes up more space. But today I am here to interrupt this cycle. I am your truth. And where the truth enters, the lie loses strength. Where I arrive, the darkness needs to leave. I came to tell you that it's not too late. That nothing is lost. That everything that was stolen can be restored. But to do that, you need to position yourself. You need to open your eyes and close the door. I will teach you how. I will give you discernment. I'll show you the way. But you need to decide that you will no longer feed this invader. You don't need to know all the steps. You just need to stay until the end. You just need to commit to this truth. You just need to decide that you will no longer ignore what is happening inside you. Because I'm the one who closes the door, but you're the one who gives me the key. I want to restore what belongs to you. I want to protect what's yours. I want to light up again what went out. But first, you have to admit, this man got in. And today, he will leave. If this word has touched something inside you, then share this video with someone who also needs to awaken. You can't imagine who is living exactly this same battle in silence. Be the channel that brings light to a house that is being silently emptied. You could be the answer another heart is waiting for. And by sharing, you also become stronger. Because every truth released in heaven multiplies when it is shared with love. There is no chance when I am involved. It's not luck. It's no coincidence. It was my hand that brought you here. It was my voice that whispered to your heart, even without words, even when everything seemed confusing. You found this video, but it was actually the one that found you. Because today is the day that something inside you needs to wake up. Today is the day when heaven invades your interior with revelations that go beyond what your eyes can see. Today is the day of your awakening. I waited for you. I saw when you almost gave up. When everything seemed too heavy. When you fell silent inside. When you thought there was nothing left to feel. But even there, deep in your silence, I was. And now I'm calling you to rise. To open your eyes. To listen not with the ears, but with the spirit. Because this video is not content. It's a summons. It's a date. It's an answer. Son, daughter, there is an invisible war going on. And this war has stolen your joy, your energy, your purpose. But today, if you choose to listen to me until the end, if you decide not to leave early, I will give you a spiritual key that will change everything. I'm not talking about fleeting emotion, I'm talking about real transformation. I will reveal to you who the real enemy is, the one who has been hiding in your ordinary days, in your thoughts, in your habits. And more than that, I will teach you how to close the door, how to protect what is yours, how to recover what seemed lost. You are about to understand what many ignore. You will see clearly who has been draining your faith, who has weakened your hope. Because evil doesn't come screaming. He sneaks in smiling. It disguises itself as distraction, as routine, as logical thoughts. And if you are not awake, it will continue to be there, feeding on your silence, your apathy, your lack of reaction. But today I come to open your eyes. And once you see it, you will never be the same. And when you understand who this spiritual man is, you will understand why his soul became so tired. Why your dreams were diminishing. Why your faith began to feel fragile. But along with this revelation will also come the strength to change. I will give you discernment, strategy, clarity. Because the truth not only frees you, it positions you, empowers you, equips you. And when you know who is behind the battle, you stop fighting in the dark and start fighting with authority. This awakening will require something of you, permanence. Don't leave. Don't jump to something else. Don't allow this moment to be interrupted. Because what is about to be revealed will touch your soul in a way that no other word has touched in recent times. I want to rekindle the fire that went out. I want to return the vision that was lost. I want to restore the strength that was drained without you noticing. But I need you to stay. May it continue. Whatever you want. Because I don't impose. I invite. And now, I invite you to keep listening. If this is already stirring something inside you, then don't leave it for later. Like this video now and subscribe to the channel. It's not about number, it's about connection. When you do this, you ensure that the next words I have to deliver reach you without noise, without blockages, without delays. And more than that, you position yourself spiritually by saying, I want to continue hearing the voice of God. So do it now. Because what comes next goes beyond what you expected to find today. Do you still remember the dreams you once had? Those who were born when no one believed in you, but still your heart beat for something bigger. Dreams of a family in peace, of a life with purpose, of stability, of helping those you love. Simple but profound dreams. Dreams you didn't invent. It was I who planted it in you. Because I know the strength you carry, I know the potential you hide, I know the mission that only you can fulfill. But there is someone who wants to erase all of this. And he's already moving. This man doesn't need to scream to make you stop. He doesn't carry chains to bind you. He does not threaten violence. He comes in your moments of tiredness. When you let your guard down. When you feel like no one sees you. When you think that the effort is not paying off. He enters without making a sound. It appears as an innocent pause, as, I'll try later, as, there's no other way. And that's when he begins his cruelest work, making you forget who you are. He doesn't rip your dreams away from you all at once. He plants little lies that look like truths. First, it says it's already too late. Afterwards, you are not enough. Then trying again is just frustrating yourself again. And then, without realizing it, you start pushing your dreams into a corner, burying them under the excuses that convince you not to try. You stop looking ahead, stop imagining, stop believing. He starts to live just reacting. One day at a time. A soulless routine. You breathe, but you don't live. Walks, but doesn't move forward. He smiles, but inside he is blank. And he feeds on it. Not only of your forgotten dreams, but of your blurred vision. Of your weakened faith. From your fire that no longer burns. This man doesn't just want to stop you from accomplishing something. He wants to make you believe that you were never called to accomplish anything. Who was born to survive, not to win. That you have to be content with little, not fullness. That what you experience is all there is. But it's not. I've been with you from the beginning. I saw when you started to dream. I saw when he drew plans even without resources. I saw him cry, praying for things that seemed impossible. I was there. And today, I'm here to remind you, this man does not have the last word. It may have made noise in your thoughts, it may have discouraged you for a while, it may have darkened your vision. But he cannot erase what I wrote about you. He cannot annul what I have decreed. He has no authority over your destiny. He only has the power you give away when you forget who you are. And you weren't created to forget. You were created to remember. To keep the flame burning, even when the winds blow against it. To hold the sword of faith, even when the body is tired. To keep what I gave you, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Because the greatest miracles are not born on easy days. They are born on the days when you decide to continue, even without understanding. And I see it in you. I know there's something inside you that still pulses. Even small, even injured, even hidden. There's still a part of you that knows you were born for more. There is still a sigh of hope that remains in the midst of the confusion. And that's what I'm talking about now. It is for this living part that I release this word. Because all it takes is a spark to rekindle the flame. All it takes is one decision to break the cycle. One yes is enough for me to start rebuilding what was destroyed. And I'm ready for it. But I need you to give me access. May you tell me, I still want it. Because if you say this with truth, even without strength, even in fear, I will show you that there is still time. That there is still a way. That there is still purpose. That the dreams didn't die, they were just asleep, waiting for this awakening. And it starts now. You already know that this man doesn't come with scandal. He doesn't shout, he doesn't knock on doors, he doesn't impose himself as a visible enemy. It sneaks in, like a light thought, like a passing feeling, like an idea that seems like yours, but isn't. It comes closer when you start telling yourself that it's okay to put it off for later. When that prayer I asked you to say today becomes something for tomorrow. When you exchange silence with me for the noise of notifications, tasks, distractions. Letting your guard down doesn't always mean stopping praying. Sometimes it's praying out of habit, but without a soul. It's repeating words with your lips while your heart is elsewhere. It's hearing a promise and thinking, it's not for me. It's being physically present, but spiritually distant. And that's where he comes in. It settles into your routine, infiltrates your mind, sits in your spiritual home as if it had a reserved seat. And you don't even notice. You just feel like something has changed. That the passion has subsided. That faith has cooled. That presence no longer impacts you like it used to. He doesn't want to scare you. He wants you to think everything is okay. That this tiredness is normal. That this distancing is a phase. That you are still strong, even when you are not. He convinces you that it's just a moment, that it will soon pass. And as long as you believe in it, it grows stronger. It takes up space. Keep occupying what was once mine. It offers you momentary relief, but steals your spark. It offers distraction, but takes away depth. It distracts you with movement, but it steals the purpose. But I ask you, when was the last time you stopped everything just to listen to me? When was the last time you cried in my presence without saying anything, just feeling that I was there? When did you realize that your heart no longer burns like it used to? I don't ask you these questions to blame you. I ask you to wake you up. Because as long as you are anesthetized by this false peace, he will continue stealing without you noticing. Son, daughter, there is still time. You can still close this door. You can still rekindle what has gone out. But it needs to be now. Not later. Not when everything is calm. Now, in the middle of this confusion, in the middle of this noise, in the middle of this emptiness. Because it is in this place that I usually give birth to the new. You don't need to fix yourself first. You just need to stop pretending like everything is fine. I don't need pretty prayers. I need honest truths. From a broken heart. From someone who says, I lost myself, but I don't want to be far from you. You were born to walk with me, and not outside of faith. You were born to carry my presence, not to survive on old memories of what you once felt. You were created to live in intensity, in revelation, in deep communion. Don't accept living in the shallows. Don't accept living with this man inside your soul as if it were normal. He's not normal. He is destructive. And today is the day you decide not to feed him anymore. If this word is waking you up, comment now, 7777. This number, at this moment, is a spiritual symbol. 7 represents the perfect cycle. 4 sevens represent a complete break with what disconnected you from heaven. Commenting is not superstition. It's prophecy. It's positioning. It's declaring, I'm giving up the lies. I'm opening the door of the soul to God again. Write 7777 as a leap of faith, as a sign that you understand. That the door is closing now. And that heaven is taking the place that always belonged to him. You may have felt like a lot was lost. You can look back and realize that that fire that one day made you rise with faith, that passion for living with purpose, that joy that came from the Spirit, all of this diminished over time. And yes, the enemy tried to erase it. He tried to steal, to occupy spaces that were mine, to infiltrate thoughts that seemed harmless, but that little by little turned out his light. But today, I'm here to remind you of something that changes the whole story. There is still time. There's still time to restore everything. There is still a seed within you that has not died. It may be buried by tiredness, by silence, by the lies you believed. But she is alive. Because I have placed within you something that the enemy cannot take away, my promise. And even though he tried to erase your vision, I can still open your eyes. Even though he tried to steal your faith, I can still rekindle the flame. Even though he made you believe it was too late, I tell you now, the time of restoration begins today. But listen carefully. This is not automatic. It doesn't happen due to inertia. A decision is needed. It takes positioning. It's not enough to understand that he entered. You have to choose that he will leave. I can close the door, but you need to give me the key. You need to say, come in, Lord. Take back what's yours. Because I only enter where I am welcome. I only restore where there is space for my presence. I only rebuild where there is a heart willing to let me guide. And don't think you need to be strong for this. Don't think that you need to resolve everything before seeking me. I didn't come to demand strength that you don't have. I came to offer mine. I don't want you to fight alone. I want to fight you. I want to take the lead in the battle you couldn't win. I want to close every gap, every door, every space that the enemy has occupied. I want to clear your mind, rekindle your faith, restore your vision. I want to give you back your identity, remind you of who you are in me. My son, my daughter, you were not created to live in silence. He was not created to conform to a lifeless daily life. You were born to walk full of my presence. To dream of the impossible, because it serves the God of the impossible. To get up every day with the certainty that heaven walks with you. And even though this man made you forget about it for a while, I'm here now to remind you of it all. To revive what you thought was dead. Today is a milestone. Today is the day you decide to close that door. Not with physical strength, but with spiritual authority. You don't need to scream. You need to believe. You don't need to convince anyone. You need to stand before me. Because when you give me control, I do what no one else can do. I cast out the silent enemy. I lift the weight he left behind. I clean the air in your house. I break the lies he planted. And I restore every area that was affected. But it starts with a choice: stay. Stay until the end. Listen to everything I have to say. Because I'm not finished yet. What I am building within you right now is deeper than you can realize right now. You are being restored from within. Your spirit is being aligned to heaven. Your soul is breathing again. Your eyes are beginning to see. There is a movement happening as you listen to me. A spiritual movement that will change not only your interior, but your environment, your routine, your home, your history. And if this word has already started to do this to you, share it now with someone who also needs to close that door. You don't know who is being silently robbed, who is on the verge of giving up, who is giving way to the enemy without realizing it. Be a restoration channel. Be answer. Multiply the light that has come to you. Because when you share the truth, you push darkness out of someone's life. And the same God who is restoring you now, will restore through you too. Don't hold this message. Spread it like someone rekindling a flame, because the war is not just yours, but neither will the victory. My son, there is something that the enemy desires more than anything: your faith. Because he knows that as long as she is alive inside you, nothing can stop you. He may try to steal your dreams, your motivation, your physical strength, but if your faith is firm, you will always find a way to continue. That's why this man's favorite target isn't his emotions, or his finances, or his relationships, it's his faith. Because faith is the foundation of everything. It is the key that opens doors in heaven. It is the fire that sustains the soul in days of war. And if he can put out that flame, he won't need to do anything else. You yourself will begin to surrender. But he's not taking it away all at once. He knows if he did that, you would notice. So it comes little by little. First with subtle questions: is this promise still valid? Then with soft thoughts: maybe this isn't for me. Then with small conclusions: it's been so long, maybe I got it wrong. And without you realizing it, what was once certainty becomes doubt. What once made you struggle now seems distant. What used to move you now no longer touches you. And faith, silently, begins to fade. You keep praying, but you no longer feel it. He goes to church, but he no longer connects. He hears words, but he no longer believes as he used to. It does everything it did before, but now it's automatic. Like someone who knows the way, but forgot the reason. Like someone who keeps their shape but has lost their fire. And that's where he wins. When you still look full of faith on the outside, but inside you are empty. Because he doesn't need to destroy his image. He just needs to weaken his essence. But I tell you now, it is not too late. The faith you lost, I can restore. The faith that was suffocated, I can resurrect. It doesn't matter how many years it's been that you believe less than before. It doesn't matter how many promises you shelve. I am the same God who walked with Abraham when everything seemed impossible. The same one who opened the sea for Moses when the people were trapped. The same one who supported David when everyone wanted to see him fall. And if I did this to them, why wouldn't I do it to you? You don't need perfect faith. All you need is a living faith. Even if small, even if weak, even if trembling. If it is real, I will use it. A faith the size of a mustard seed is enough to move mountains, transform homes, restore stories, rekindle hearts. And if now, as you listen to me, you feel that there is still a spark burning, then know, that flame is all I need to do something extraordinary. The enemy thought they had won. He thought his faith had died. He thought you were too far away. But what he didn't know is that you belong to me. That I know every space in your heart. That I know what was stolen. And more than that, I know how to give back. I didn't just come to console you. I came to renew you. I came to reposition you. I came to remind you that you were born to live with active faith, living faith, faith that moves the heavens. But to do that, you need to make a decision now. Let me rekindle what has been extinguished. Don't try to do it with your strength. Just be willing. Talk to me. Say, Lord, rekindle my faith. And I will. Because faith is what connects you to the invisible. It's what sustains you when everything around you seems to be falling apart. It's what makes you pray even without seeing, believe even without feeling, walk even without knowing where it's going. Faith is what keeps you standing when everything tells you to give up. And I am the author of faith. I am the one who plants, who waters, who makes it grow. If this word rekindled something in you, like this video now and subscribe to the channel. This is how you stand spiritually and say, I choose to keep my faith alive. Do this now and allow this flame to continue growing with each word that I will deliver to you. My son, you may even find that your faith is weak, small, shaky. But I don't see it as the world sees it. The world values size, volume, appearance. I value the heart. And if there is still a spark, a breath, an echo of hope left within you, that is enough for me to act. Because the faith that moves heaven is not perfect faith, it is living faith. And if you are still listening to me now, it is because that faith is still there, even if it is bruised, even if it is wounded by time, by disappointments, by silence. I know your insides. I saw every time you tried to continue, even without strength. I saw when you prayed, I can't take it anymore, but you continued to seek me. I saw when your eyes were dry, but your soul still cried out. And all of this counts. Nothing went unnoticed by me. Because I am the God who collects tears and transforms them into harvest. I am the God who honors every attempt, every whispered prayer, every step taken in the darkness. And today, I want to make your faith bloom again. Remember Abraham? He saw no way out, but he continued to believe. Remember Moses? The sea was in front, the army behind, but he obeyed me anyway. Remember David? Persecuted, rejected, discredited, but he still wrote psalms and worshipped me. None of them had perfect faith. But everyone had living faith. They chose to trust when everything said otherwise. And that's what I'm asking you now, trust. Even shaking. Even without understanding. Even without seeing it. Because it is in this type of faith that I manifest the supernatural. Don't wait to feel ready to believe. Believe so that I can prepare you. Faith is not born of control. It is born from surrender. It grows stronger when you choose to believe my word more than your circumstances. When you choose to look at me and not the situation. When you lift your head even when your body is tired, saying, God is still with me, and that is enough. And I am. I didn't move away. I was with you every day you thought you were alone. I was in the silences. I was in doubt. I was even in those moments when you thought I had given up. But I don't give up on my children. I don't revoke promises. I don't cancel calls. I don't abandon processes. And if you are still here, it is because what I started in you is still standing. Now look inside yourself. Examine your heart. Is there still a desire to believe? Is there still a sigh of hope? Is there still something in you that you want to trust, even if everything is messed up? So know, you are closer to your miracle than you think. Because the enemy couldn't erase everything. He tried. He fought with lies, tiredness, distractions. But it failed. Because where there is faith, however small, I can move heaven and earth. I will strengthen this faith. I will teach you to trust again. I will remove the weight that prevented you from believing. I will make you walk like someone who has already seen victory, even if it has not yet manifested itself. Because this is the faith that moves heaven. It is faith that causes miracles. It is faith that does not depend on what the eyes see, but on what the Spirit discerns. It is faith that makes you declare victory in the middle of the battle. It is faith that makes you smile even in the valley. It's faith that changes you inside before anything changes outside. And that faith, son, daughter, is rightfully yours. It was planted in you when I formed you. It doesn't matter how many times you felt like you lost. Today, I declare, your faith is being restored. What was extinguished, I rekindle. What was paralyzed, I awaken. What seemed fragile, I strengthen. And you will be surprised by the strength that will emerge from within you. Because this faith is not human. It comes from me. And if I gave it to you, no one can steal it. Just protect her. Feed it with my word. Water it with prayer. And walk. Because every step you take with faith, I will be ahead paving the way. Always. My son, I know you are tired. But I'm not talking about body fatigue. That's a good night's sleep. I'm talking about another type of tiredness. One that hides behind smiles, that weighs heavily on the chest even when everything seems calm, that empties the soul even when the body is still standing. That tiredness that no one sees, that you try to ignore, that you think you need to bear alone. The one that makes you slowly move away, become silent without realizing it, stop searching, stop waiting, stop dreaming. This is the fatigue that the enemy expects. That's where it moves. He doesn't come as a noisy enemy. It comes as relief. Like a gentle thought, today you don't need to pray, God already knows. You've already done so much, now you can rest. You don't need to force anything, just let things happen. And you believe. Not because you don't love me, but because you have no strength to fight against these lies that seem like truths. You begin to give in, thinking you are just resting, when in fact you are silently giving up. And this is how this man settles in, feeds on his pause, grows stronger in his silence, settles down where my presence used to dwell. But I see. I see beyond what others see. I see this tired heart that still beats for something bigger. I see this exhausted soul that still desires me, even without words. I see this downcast spirit that still recognizes me as its only refuge. And that is why I have come to you today. Not to demand strength you don't have, but to remind you of who I am. I am your rest. I am your strength. I am the one who lifts up those who can no longer stand up on their own. You don't need to say big prayers now. You just need to be sincere. Say, Dad, I'm tired. That's enough. This phrase, coming from the depths of your soul, has the power to move the heavens. Because when you recognize your limitation, I come in with my power. When you admit that you have reached the end of your strength, I give you mine. And my strength does not run out. They don't fluctuate. They don't fail. They are eternal, inexhaustible, restorative. Don't be embarrassed about being tired. Don't blame yourself for feeling like stopping. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And I love you like that. Not because you always succeed, but because you always come back. And today, you came back. He returned with an open heart. He returned with a wounded soul, but still willing. He returned with heavy shoulders, but with the faith that I can lift this weight. And I can. And I will. You don't need a spiritual retreat, a specific place, a special atmosphere. You just need this moment. Now. From this place where you are. That voice that still comes out, even though it's shaking. I'm listening. I'm feeling your surrender. I'm moving towards you. And I'm renewing you now. Taking away that invisible weight that made you drag through the days. Clearing the accumulation of pain, silence, doubt. I am returning lightness to your soul. Because you were not created to survive. You were created to live with intensity, with brilliance, with presence, with purpose. You don't have to pretend anymore. You don't need to maintain this image of strength when inside you are exhausted. I don't need you to be strong. I need you to be true. Let him say, Father, help me. And I help. Let it say, Father, remind me why I started. And I remember. Say, Dad, I don't want to stop here. And I will carry you until you can walk on your own 2 feet again. Because that is my heart for you. Never demand more than you can. Always find you exactly where you are. And if today you've reached your limit, know, this is precisely where the fresh start begins. The end of your strength is the beginning of my action. Your weakness is the perfect soil for my glory to manifest itself. Because it's when you have nowhere else to go, that I become the way. It's when you no longer see a way out, that I open the doors. It's when you don't know what else to say, that I give you new words, new dreams, new hope. If this word reached you in the exact place where you needed it most, enjoy this video now. Not as just any click, but as an act of faith. Like it as if to say, I receive this rest. I choose to trust. And may this simple gesture be a sign to heaven that you are still here, still believe, still desire, still hope. Because as long as there is a desire for me, there will be an answer. And you are being renewed right now. My son, have you ever realized how dangerous silence can be? Not the silence that calms, that heals, that brings you closer to me. But the other. That silence that isolates you. That holds pains that should be surrendered. That suffocates prayers that should be released. That imprisons screams of the soul and transforms it into internal murmurs. This silence is fertile ground for the enemy. That's where he grows. It's what he feeds on. He doesn't need scandal or confusion. It just needs you to shut up. Stop praying. Swallow what you feel. Stop telling me. Because he knows that as long as you are talking to me, even if you are weak, even if you are crying, even if you don't understand, you are still connected to the source. There is still fire. There is still life. There is still hope. But when you keep quiet, when you start hiding your pain even from me, when you stop saying what you feel, it finds space. He enters through the gaps left by the silence. He walks through your mind like he owns the place. And little by little, it erases the shine in your eyes, cools your soul, destroys your courage. You don't need beautiful words to pray. Never needed it. I'm not looking for rehearsed speeches. I'm looking for honest truths. A simple prayer like, Father, help me, has more power than 1,000 half-heartedly rehearsed phrases. It is sincerity that moves the sky. It's real delivery that breaks chains. It is the deep outburst that opens the heavens. And even if your voice is weak, even if your words come through tears, I listen. And I move. And I respond. You were not created to keep everything inside. You were not made to carry pain in silence. I formed you to communicate with me. To open your heart, to release your soul, to pour yourself into my presence. And if you've lost this habit, if it's been a while since you talked to me like you used to, if your prayers have become short and empty monologues, I don't judge you. But today, I invite you to return. Reopening this channel. Raising your voice, even though you're shaking, even without knowing where to start. Because when you talk to me, hell shakes. When you pray, the enemy loses territory. When you open your mouth in prayer, even without strength, I release help. The sky aligns. The angels move. The walls begin to crumble. What seemed stopped begins to move forward. Because your voice has power when used to connect with me. It is not just sound. It's authority. It's a tool of war. It is a bridge between the natural and the supernatural. And if today you are silent inside, if you feel that you have lost the will to even pray, know that this is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign that you urgently need to talk to me again. Don't let tiredness erase your voice. Don't allow the enemy's lies to convince you that you are talking to yourself. You never talk to yourself. From the first cry, I listened. From the first whisper, I leaned in. You may think, but I don't know how to pray anymore. And I tell you, just say what you feel. With your words. In your time. At your pace. Because as long as you are seeking me, I will be strengthening you. Don't be silent anymore. Don't hide anymore. Do not keep what should be given to me. Because there is an invisible power released the moment you decide to break the silence. And that is exactly what the enemy wants to prevent. Today, I give you permission to scream, to cry, to whisper, to speak however you can. But speak up. Don't be silent. Don't accept living with your soul locked away. Don't accept this silence as a new normality. Because you were born to communicate with me. It was like that from the beginning. Eden was a place of communion. And I want to restore that now. Right here, where you are. In the midst of the pain, the mess, the internal confusion. I am here. Ready to listen. If this word sparks something in you, share it now. Someone close to you also needs to break the silence and return to prayer. Be answer. Carry this light forward. My child, you were created to communicate with me. From the beginning, before you even said your first word, I already expected to hear your voice. Not because I need to be told what you feel, but because every time you choose to speak to me, you are activating your connection to heaven. When you pray, you align yourself with my will, you release weight, you push away the enemy, you make room for the supernatural to move. But what the enemy wants most is for you to remain silent. He wants you to believe that your prayer has no strength, that what you feel doesn't matter, that I'm not listening, that speaking or remaining silent is the same. And when you accept that, you start to save the words. Stifling the cries. Replacing prayer with silence. And so, he finds a home. Not because you have the right, but because you found space. Spiritual silence is not the absence of noise, it is the absence of communion. That's when you stop opening up to me, even though you're surrounded by memorized prayers and rehearsed phrases. It's when the mouth speaks, but the heart hides. When religious routine replaces living intimacy. And that's why I'm here, not to accuse you, but to remind you, your voice still has power. Your cry, even wounded, still carries authority. I don't look for perfect prayers, I look for sincere children. You don't need to wait for the ideal moment. You don't need to have everything sorted out. You just need to talk to me as you are. The prayer that I listen to most attentively is not the most beautiful, but the most true. Say, Dad, I don't know what else to do. Say, Lord, I have returned. Say, Jesus, listen to me. Say what comes. But say it. Because when your mouth opens with faith, heaven opens with answers. I do not despise any word that comes from a broken heart. Many think they need strength to pray. But the truth is that it is in weakness that the most powerful prayer is born. It is when you are in pieces, but still decide to open your mouth, that the spiritual war begins to be won. Because hell does not fear religious speeches. He fears sincere voices. He trembles when a wounded son decides to pray. Because there, he loses power. There, he needs to retreat. There, I take control. You think you don't know how to pray anymore. But I say, you just need to be you. Talk to me like you always have. Shameless. No fear. Without fear of saying, I'm tired. Not afraid to admit that he thought about giving up. I hear everything. And in your every word, I read the heart. It doesn't matter if she comes with a firm voice or through tears. If she is sincere, she reaches my throne. This is how Anna broke years of sterility, with a choked, almost soundless cry. This is how David wrote psalms, speaking to me in the midst of pain. This is how many of my children experienced miracles, not with perfect sentences, but with their souls exposed. And that's how I want to hear you now. Because when you pray with truth again, the presence fills the house again. The environment changes. The mind clears. Faith rekindles. And if you thought your voice was no longer heard, know that nothing you said with me was lost. No prayer was ignored. Even the ones you didn't finish. Even those done in silence. And now, if you decide to open your mouth again, you will feel what you haven't felt in a long time, me answering. Me playing. Me renewing. If this word spoke to your heart, subscribe to the channel now. This is where I will continue to guide you, strengthen you, and remind you of who you are in me. My son, I know exactly where you are. I know how you've been feeling. I know the battle you fight within yourself, every day, even when no one sees it. And no, I didn't walk away from you because of that. On the contrary, I'm closer than you think. I am here, at the center of your tiredness, your confusion, your questions. I'm here to remind you of something the enemy tried to make you forget: you can still fight. There's no shame in getting tired. It is not a sin to feel weak. It does not make you any less of my son or my daughter. The mistake is not in tiredness, but in accepting that it is your final place. The mistake is to let silence become a home, isolation become a shield, coldness become routine. The enemy knows this. That's why he acts silently. He doesn't come with scandals, he comes with resignations disguised as rest. He wants you to stop. May you accept. May you say, that's just how it is now. But it's not. You were not created to live stagnant. I didn't breathe life into you to just exist. I formed you to live with purpose, with intensity, with fire, with passion for my presence. I gave you vision, spiritual sensitivity, authority in heaven. And even if today you don't see any of this, I came to rekindle what you extinguished. Because what I put in you, the enemy cannot take away. He might try to dunk. You can try to keep quiet. But you can't cancel it. Because my mark on your life is permanent. You stopped fighting because you thought there was no point anymore. That everything you prayed for did not bear fruit. That everything you believed in was not fulfilled. That every effort seemed in vain. But today I tell you, nothing was in vain. Every tear, every plea, every moment you chose not to give up, was counted, recorded, kept in my heart. And now, I am activating what seemed dormant. I am calling back your voice, your strength, your faith. Because the time for just surviving is over. Now it's time to revive. Reliving is more than breathing. It's having purpose again. It's waking up with hope. It's getting up even though you still don't understand everything, but with the certainty that you're not alone. To relive is to dream again, to desire my presence again, to seek me again as someone who knows that they will be found. And this is happening now, as you listen to me. I'm touching you inside. I'm restoring areas that no one knows about. I'm breaking down walls you didn't even know you built. You tried to protect yourself from yet another frustration, so you kept quiet. You tried not to create expectations, so you walked away. You thought maybe it would be better to stop feeling, so you cooled down. But this best did not come from me. This best came from the one who feeds on his silence. And he can no longer remain. Because when you start coming back to me, when you start seeking again, when you decide to get up even if it's on your knees, the enemy needs to leave. I don't need you to be 100%. I just need you to want to come back. Let him say, Father, I'm still here. With that, I already move. Because the fight you think you're losing, I've already won. The war that seems to consume you, I have already mastered. And now, I am bringing you back to the place where you have always been, my presence. The place where there is no guilt, only grace. Where there is no fear, only peace. Where there is no weight, only rest. Where there is no darkness, only light. You can still fight. Even with little. Even injured. Even fragile. And if you fight with the little you have, I will multiply. I will make your almost nothing an unshakable strength. Not because you deserve it, but because I love you. Because I chose you. Because I see in you what you don't even see anymore. You can still fight, and most importantly, you don't have to fight alone. I'm fighting with you. I'm ahead. And I'm already opening paths that seemed closed. Now take a deep breath. Feel life returning. Feel the spirit surrounding you, embracing you, reminding you that there is a purpose. That there is something beyond the pain. That what you've experienced so far doesn't define what you'll experience from now on. Because I am rewriting your story. And this new page begins today, at the exact moment you decided to listen to me again. Don't stop. Don't back down. Continue. Because if you take one more step, I will take you where you never imagined going. You can still fight. And I'll still show you why it's worth it. My son, today I need to reveal to you something that has been happening within you for a long time, but perhaps you have never understood clearly. The war that weakens you the most does not begin in external situations, nor in everyday struggles. It starts in your mind. Yes, that is where the enemy acts most strongly. It's in your thoughts, in the ideas you accept without realizing it, in the voices you listen to in silence, in the internal dialogues that seem like yours, but aren't. It is there that he slowly sows an invisible destruction that little by little affects everything. He doesn't need to scream. He doesn't come up with scandalous phrases. He whispers softly, logically. He uses the appearance of reason to make you believe the lie. He says, "You're not like the others. It's been too long. What you experienced was punishment. You are alone. God doesn't talk to you anymore." And you start repeating these phrases inside. At first, with doubt. Then, with conviction. And this is how the enemy takes territory. He doesn't need you to scream. You just need to accept it. But I ask you today with all my authority, who told you these things? Because I didn't go. I never told you that you weren't capable. I never told you that your past condemned you. I never said that you were no longer valuable, that you wouldn't be heard, that you weren't enough. These phrases did not come from heaven. They came from an attacker who has been disguising himself as a thought, and who is stealing your identity without you realizing it. You begin to look at yourself through the eyes of accusation. Begin to interpret silence as rejection. Start seeing care as a charge. You begin to doubt every promise, because your inner voice has become louder than my voice. But I will not remain silent and watch this happen. Today, I came to awaken you. I came to turn on a light in your mind. I came to show you that this thought pattern was not born in me, it was not planted by me, and it needs to be uprooted now. The way you think defines the way you live. If you believe you were born to suffer, you settle for pain. If you believe you are alone, you isolate yourself from everyone. If you believe there is no more hope, stop fighting. Therefore, the first battlefield will always be your mind. And that's why the enemy works so hard there. Because if he can shape your thoughts, he shapes your decisions. If he controls your perspective, he paralyzes your destiny. But today, I give you a spiritual key. You can choose what to think about. You can filter what enters your mind. You can decide whether to feed the lie or the truth. And when you choose to think what I think, say what I say, repeat what I have already said about you, the enemy loses his base. It loses its structure. He loses his influence. I want you to see yourself again as I see you, strong, healed, chosen, valuable. I want your mind to be a place of faith, not fear. A place of promises, not doubts. A place of freedom, not accusations. And that starts now. It starts with a decision. It starts when you take a stand and say, "I will no longer accept any thought." It starts when you hold up a spiritual standard and say, "If it did not come from God, it does not remain in me." You have the authority to cast out thoughts that were not planted by me. You have the power, through my spirit, to renew your mind, to cleanse your insides, to silence strange voices. But you need to let me act. You need to give me control of your mind. You must let my word be stronger than any memory of the past, any third-party opinion, any infiltrated thought. Because truth is a seed, and when planted, it grows, blooms and takes up all space. You don't have to fight your mind alone. I fight with you. I give you the weapons. I give you wisdom. I give you the discernment to recognize what does not come from me. But the choice is yours. Choose today to stop repeating lies. Choose today to cancel sentences that you accepted without realizing it. Choose today to declare about yourself what I have already declared in heaven. Because when you change your thoughts, you change your atmosphere. And when your atmosphere changes, your entire life begins to be transformed. If this word woke you up, comment now, I choose to believe what God says about me. Declare this as true. This is how the renewal of your mind begins. My child, now that you have begun to recognize the lies that have been planted inside your mind, it is time to take an even more important step, replacing them with the truth. Because it is not enough to reject what did not come from me. It is necessary to occupy the empty place with my word, with my vision, with what I have already declared about you. Because a mind without direction becomes vulnerable. But a mind filled with my truth becomes unshakable. You have the power to decide what feeds your soul. It's not your feelings that define your spiritual reality, it's the thoughts you choose to keep. And today, I am calling you to cleanse. To sweep away from your insides every sentence that was said in moments of pain, every label that was placed on you, every lie that was camouflaged as prudence, every thought that made you hide from who you really are. This did not come from me. And what did not come from me, can no longer remain in you. Do you know why this war in the mind is so subtle? Because the enemy knows that if he tries to steal your identity directly, you will resist. But if he can make you doubt just a little, if he makes you accept just a part of the lie, he will already have room to grow. And a lie, even a small one, contaminates everything if it is not confronted with the light of truth. But the good news is that the light is here. I am the light. And where I enter, darkness cannot remain. Where my voice is heard, all others are silent. And now, as you listen to me, something is already happening within you. Your thoughts are being organized. The confusion is starting to clear. And clarity is returning. This is no coincidence. This is liberation. This is renewal. I don't just want to ease what you feel. I want to heal what you think. Because what happens in your thoughts is reflected in your emotions, in your decisions, in your relationships, in your walk with me. A renewed mind is an armored mind. And an armored mind is the first step to a protected life, full of purpose and direction. You've already taken the hardest step, recognizing that something needed to change. Now is the time to take spiritual control and declare, I no longer accept thinking as the world thinks. I choose to think as God thinks. This is more than wishful thinking. This is a spiritual position. It is placing your mind under the authority of heaven. And when that happens, everything changes. Anxiety loses strength. Insecurity recedes. The fear melts away. Doubt is unmasked. Because the truth doesn't just inform, it liberates. And I am the truth. The one who frees with love. He who heals with presence. The one who transforms with words that generate life and not weight. What I say about you should be the basis of what you think about yourself. Nothing less. You may have spent years being fed lies. It may have been conditioned by words of rejection, by experiences of pain, by failures that seemed to define who you were. But today, I tell you clearly, this is not who you are. You are my masterpiece. You are the fruit of an eternal plan. You were created to reflect my image, not to carry burdens that I never placed on you. And if you feel like there are still things stuck inside, thoughts of guilt, shame, incapacity, give it all up now. Don't keep it anymore. Don't accept it anymore. Swap. Replace. Align. I want to clean your insides. I want to reorganize your way of thinking. I want to renew your mind with my truth. And when that happens, even your way of seeing the world will change. Because the miracle does not begin with circumstances. It starts within. You are no longer vulnerable as before. Because now you know you can choose. Now you understand that you can shield your mind. Now you are taking ownership of the truth. And this is the beginning of a new journey. A lighter, freer life, more full of peace. If this word brought you clarity, strength and liberation, enjoy this video now. Not out of habit, but as a spiritual sign. As if to say, this truth is for me. And I will never go back to the lie. Each act of faith activates what has been released upon you. Like it, and may this truth remain within you until it overflows. Because whatever is signed in truth, no one can steal. My son, I need to tell you about something profound. Something the enemy has done surreptitiously, but with great effect. He has tried to isolate you. Yes, his plan is not just to steal your faith, your strength, or your vision. His plan is to push you away. Keep away from the right people. Remove from communion. Stay away from those who pray for you. Move away from those who remind you of who you are in me. Because he knows that an isolated soul is more vulnerable to deception, to doubt, to discouragement. And the worst thing is that he doesn't do it openly. He comes with soft thoughts, disguised as protection. Better not bother anyone. They have too many problems. No one will understand what I'm feeling. It's better to be alone. And you, tired, hurt, begin to agree. He begins to walk away in silence. Responding with, everything's fine, when, in reality, you're struggling inside. Start avoiding deep conversations. Preferring silence. Hiding in solitude. But son, daughter, this is not protection. This is a trap. Because I didn't create you to live alone. I did not train you to walk without support. You were made to live in body, in unity, in alliance. You are called to belong. To be surrounded by those who carry me, who manifest me, who represent me on earth. When you move away from everyone, you start to lose reference. You start to feed only on your own mind, on your unstable emotions. And that's when the enemy increases the intensity of the attack. It was not for nothing that I said, it is not good for man to be alone. It wasn't just about marriage. It was about life. About journey. About spiritual protection. An ember outside the fire goes out faster. A lamb far from the herd is more vulnerable to the wolf. And you, without even realizing it, started moving away. For sorrows. For disappointments. For wounds. Out of tiredness. And I understood each of these reasons. I saw. I felt with you. I don't judge you for that. But now, I'm calling you back. Return to communion. Go back to the relationships that build. Return to those who pray with you, who lift you up when your strength runs out. Return to the environment where my presence is shared, where faith is strengthened by many, where hope is divided and multiplied. Because there are things that I only release in the collective. There are healings that only happen when you allow yourself to be hugged, advised, listened to. I know you've trusted and been hurt. I know you opened up and were disappointed. I saw when you felt alone even when surrounded by people. But that doesn't mean you have to live in isolation forever. Not everyone will understand you. But I will raise people who will respect you. People who will listen without judging. Who will pray without asking for explanations. That will remind you of my voice when you can't hear it. Who will walk with you, even on the days when you are too weak to walk alone. That is the beauty of communion. It's where one lifts the other. It is where two or three, gathered in my name, attract my presence in a special way. Because when you reconnect with mine, you reconnect with me. I manifest myself in hugs, in listening, in shared silence. I heal through simple words spoken by someone who carries my spirit. And today, I want to take you out of isolation. I want to take you back to the place where your faith will be restored in community. You are not called to be an island. You are part of the body. And the body is only strong when its members are connected, function in unity, in love, in mutual care. And when this connection is restored, the enemy that previously fed on your loneliness completely loses its strength. He can no longer keep you trapped, because now there is light all around. There are spiritual voices covering you. There is collective prayer shielding you. There is truth being declared about you. I'm restoring your voice, yes. Your faith, yes. But now, I also want to restore your bonds. Those that the enemy tried to break through. The trust that was shaken. Hope in relationships. The joy of being cared for and also caring. I am rekindling spiritual ties. I'm repositioning you in the body. I'm giving you new connections. Sincere people. People from heaven. People sent. Receive this reconnection as part of your healing. And know, what comes next will be even stronger. Because now you no longer carry this alone. I'm with you. And around you, I will place those who represent me. The invisible war will be won by the visible strength of restored communion. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I will be. And I will be with you. Always. Breathe deeply. It's just the 2 of us now. Don't pass up this opportunity. I have to tell you something that might dramatically alter the trajectory of your life. I wasn't here to make accusations. To wake you awake, I arrived. Because something unseen is moving about you as you pretend everything is alright and attempt to disguise how exhausted you are. And if you don't understand right now, you could lose what you value most if you don't listen to me with an open heart. I am not speaking to the masses. I'm speaking to you. Yes, you who have made it this far may feel as though something is vanishing from within. I pray with you, but I no longer feel. Despite his hardships, nothing changes. It endures on the outside but is dying on the inside. Everything is visible to me. I am fully informed. I experience anguish that you are unable to describe to others. So pay attention to me. Right now, something is going on in the spiritual realm, and if you don't wake up, you could lose the most important thing in your life. You're not here by accident. I personally brought you. You don't comprehend how significant this moment is. Because your spiritual house is being approached by an intruder. Additionally, there is no violence or controversy associated with it. He doesn't break down doors or carry any weapons. Smoothly, softly, almost invisibly, this guy enters. Routine, fatigue, and seemingly innocuous ideas are some of its disguises. He hides behind phrases like, just for today, no problem, and, I'll pray later. And he's already inside when you least expect it. Seated at your workstation. Tucked up in your heart. Who is this man, you could ask? Why is he visiting me, too? He does not come for what is visible or for his belongings. He comes for your soul, which is the most valuable thing. He comes to take away your happiness, to put out your fire, to rob you of your purpose, your hope, and your concentration. He wants you to think that dreaming is pointless, that prayer makes no difference, and that believing in promises is a waste of time. He wants you to die naturally, get weary, and fit in. You don't have to give up everything to him all at once. It is sufficient for him to gradually erode his spirit. The fact that he doesn't appear to be an opponent is the most hazardous thing. It seems to be the relaxation movie you watch, the concept you accept without examination, or the rest you felt you earned. He will also gradually drain whatever I put inside of you. Your confidence, your bravery, and your trust. He doesn't use force to remove it. He gently removes it. Before you realize it, the area that previously felt my presence is quiet, chilly, and empty. But things could change today, my child. I bring you clarity today. I reveal to you now what was previously concealed. Because I don't want to witness your silent robbery. I don't want you to continue to think that this emptiness is commonplace. It's not. You were made to live a life filled with my pleasure, my tranquility, and my presence. And if you want to listen to me through to the finish, all of this may be restored right now. There is more to this video than meets the eye. It's a warning. It's a call. You've been waiting a long time for this response. You agree when you write, so if you realize that this word was speaking to you, leave a remark right now saying, "I am listening, Lord." And the truth starts to free you when you accept it. As a sign of spiritual resistance, leave this comment. There is a reason you are here. You are a part of something significant that is just getting started. Even if you are unable to express it, you still feel it. There's that weird quiet that permeates your house, that void that you attempt to fill with diversions, that sense that something is off but are unable to pinpoint. I'll tell you, though. What's lacking isn't a new piece of furniture, a tangible accomplishment, or an obvious fix. What that man came to steal is what's missing. Furthermore, he has already begun. Nothing is broken by this man. He doesn't have to. He is sly. It appears gradually under the mask of daily diversions, monotony, and fatigue. The few permissions you provided conceal it. It enters when you substitute other noises for the prayer. When you allow the soul to do the talking. When you promise to return the next day. When you accept my absence as usual, like it's just a phase. He assumes office in this manner. Furthermore, it requires more than one component. Everything that is worth is taken by him. Enjoy your happiness, the kind that originates from inside rather than from external factors. Hold fast to the cause that made even the most trying days meaningful. Pick up the spiritual fire that lit up your eyes while you talked about me. Bring your power, your vision, and your dreams. Furthermore, he steals your hope. It gives you the impression that living this way, with your faith erased, your heart silent, and your soul operating in automatic mode, is okay. He's already been admitted by many. They were unable to comprehend. They assumed they were simply worn out. That it had only been a phase. Because they had too much on their plates. They started using the time that had been mine to feed this man without my knowledge. With the formerly devoted ideas. With formerly pure aspirations. They made room for him. They gave you a bed. They spoke. They now question why everything seems so out of place. Why does it seem cold in my house? My spiritual life seems to be at a stop. Why is that? There is still time, though, I assure you. What was taken can yet be recovered. You still possess strength that this man was unable to take away. If you choose to get up now, you may reignite the spark, no matter how tiny. Don't become accustomed to the emptiness. This coldness shouldn't be taken for granted. You were made to live in passion for the eternal, in wholeness, and with spiritual intensity. Have you ever had the feeling that you've changed? You no longer feel the same intensity that once propelled you. Hearing a promise no longer makes you feel the same. When he prays, he no longer feels as moved as he once did. Your faith that kept you going now appears shaky. It's not your weakness, though. This is the outcome of this thief's quiet presence. He enters and subtly tells falsehoods. Claims you're overstating things. That this is typical. That everyone experiences this. And you begin to believe. Begins to stop talking. Begin to adjust. Additionally, it occupies more space without you noticing. However, I'm here today to break this pattern. Your truth is me. And the deception becomes weaker when the truth comes in. The gloom must go wherever I end up. I'm here to let you know that there is still time. That nothing is lost. That it is possible to recover all that was taken. But you have to position yourself to accomplish that. You must shut the door and open your eyes. I'll show you how. You'll get discernment from me. I'll lead the way. However, you must make the decision to stop feeding this intruder. You don't have to be familiar with every step. All you have to do is remain until the very finish. All you have to do is make a commitment to this fact. All you have to do is make the decision to stop ignoring what is going on inside of you. Because you are the one who hands me the key, but I am the one who shuts the door. I wish to return what is rightfully yours. I want to keep what is yours safe. What went out, I wish to light up again. First, though, you must acknowledge that this man entered. And he's going to go today. Share this video with someone who needs to wake up as well, if this word has resonated with you. You have no idea who else is silently fighting this same war. Be the light source in a house that is being cleared out in silence. Another person's heart could be waiting for you. Additionally, sharing makes you stronger. Because when truth is presented with love, it multiplies in paradise. When I'm involved, there's no chance. It's not a stroke of luck. It's not a coincidence. You were brought here by my hand. Even when things looked unclear, it was my voice that spoke in a whisper to your heart. This video was the one that discovered you, but you found it. Because you need to awaken something within of you today. You will experience insights from heaven that beyond your visual senses on this day. You are going to awaken today. I awaited your arrival. I watched you nearly give up. When it all seemed too heavy. When you were quiet within. When you believed that all emotions were gone. But I was there, in the midst of your quiet. I'm calling on you to get up immediately. To make you see. Should listen with the spirit rather than the hearing. As there is no substance in this video. It's a call. It's a date. It's a response. There's an unseen war going on, son and daughter. Additionally, this battle has taken away your happiness, vitality, and sense of purpose. However, I will give you a spiritual key today that will transform everything if you choose to listen to me through to the finish and don't leave early. I'm referring to genuine transformation, not ephemeral feelings. I'll show you who your true adversary is, the one who has been lurking in your routine, ideas, and behaviors. More than that, I'll teach you how to shut the door, safeguard your belongings, and get back what seems lost. You're going to realize what many others overlook. You will be able to see clearly who has been undermining your hope and eroding your faith. Considering that evil doesn't scream. Grinning, he slips in. It poses as a habit, a diversion, or a rational notion. Additionally, it will persist if you are not conscious, preying on your inaction, indifference, and quiet. But I'm here today to help you see. And you won't be the same after seeing it. You will comprehend why this spiritual man's soul felt so exhausted once you know who he is. Why were your dreams fading? Why did your religion start to seem shaky? However, the ability to change will also accompany this realization. I'll give you clarity, strategy, and discernment. Because you are not only set free by the truth, but you are also positioned, empowered, and equipped. Additionally, you cease battling in the dark and begin fighting with authority once you realize who is behind the conflict. You will need to be permanent in order to experience this awakening. Stay put. Avoid hopping to another topic. Don't let anything disrupt this moment. Because the revelation that follows will have a profound effect on your soul that no other word has had in a long time. I wish to revive the extinguished fire. I wish to restore the lost vision. Without you noticing, I wish to replenish the strength that was depleted. But you must stay with me. May it go on. Anything you desire. Since I don't force things, I extend an invitation. I'd want you to continue listening immediately. Don't wait till later if this is already making you feel something. Enjoy this video and subscribe to the channel right away. It's about connection, not about numbers. By doing this, you guarantee that the next things I have to say will get to you without any interruptions, delays, or noise. Furthermore, by declaring, I want to continue hearing the voice of God, you are putting yourself in a spiritual position. So, take action right away. Because what follows is more than what you might have discovered today. Are your old dreams still fresh in your mind? Those whose hearts beat for something greater even if no one believed in them when they were born. Dreams of a stable, purposeful existence, a peaceful family, and supporting the people you care about. Dreams that are straightforward but powerful. Dreams that you didn't make up. I was the one who inserted it inside you. Because I am aware of your power, your hidden potential, and the task that only you are capable of completing. However, there is a person who wants to remove all of this. And he's on the go already. You don't have to yell to stop this man. He is not carrying chains to restrain you. He doesn't make violent threats. He shows up when you're feeling worn out. When you get careless. When you think no one is looking at you. When you believe that your efforts are not being rewarded. Without a sound, he walks in. It seems like a harmless delay, like, there's no other way, or, I'll try later. He then starts his most vicious task, which is to make you forget who you are. He doesn't suddenly tear your dreams away from you. Little falsehoods that appear to be truths are planted by him. It states, first, that it is now too late. Then you are insufficient. Then making another attempt will only make you more frustrated. Without realizing it, you then begin to bury your aspirations behind the justifications that persuade you not to attempt, forcing them into a corner. You cease to envision, to believe, to gaze ahead. He begins to live only in response. One day at a time. A routine devoid of spirit. You don't live, you just breathe. Strolls but does not advance. He's blank on the inside, but he grins. And he consumes it. Not just of your lost aspirations, but also of your hazy eyesight. Of your feeble faith. From your extinguished flames. This man wants more than to prevent you from achieving your goals. He's trying to convince you that you were never asked to do anything. Who was not born to win, but to endure. That you must be happy with insufficient things rather than abundance. That there is nothing more than what you experience. However, it isn't. I've been on your side from the start. I noticed when you began to dream. I observed him creating plans in the absence of resources. I watched him sob as he prayed for seemingly unattainable goals. I was present. I'm here today to tell you that this man is not the final arbiter. It may have caused a commotion in your mind, demoralized you for a moment, or clouded your judgment. He can't, however, take back what I wrote about you. What I have decided cannot be undone by him. He has no control over your fate. Only when you lose your identity does he gain power. You weren't made to forget, either. You were made to be remembered. In order to maintain the flame's intensity despite wind. To maintain the sword of faith despite physical exhaustion. Even when it appears like nothing is occurring, to hold on to what I gave you. Because it is not easy days that give birth to the greatest wonders. They are born on the days you choose to keep going, even if you don't understand. I see that in you, too. I am aware that you still have a pulse inside of you. Even little, even wounded, even concealed. A part of you still believes that you were meant for more. In the middle of the chaos, there is still a glimmer of optimism. That's what I'm discussing right now. I am releasing this term for this live portion. Because the flame may be reignited with just a spark. The cycle may be broken with only one choice. I can begin restoring what was damaged with only one yes. I'm prepared for it, too. However, I require access from you. Please say to me, I still want it. Because I will prove to you that there is still time if you say this with honesty, despite your weakness and fear. That a path still exists. That the goal remains. That the dreams only slept, anticipating this waking, and did not perish. And it begins right now. You are already aware that there is no controversy associated with this individual. He doesn't make himself known as an opponent by yelling or knocking on doors. It infiltrates like a fleeting emotion, a light notion, or a concept that appears to be yours but isn't. When you begin to convince yourself that it's acceptable to postpone it, it becomes closer. It becomes something for tomorrow when you say the prayer I asked you to say now. When you trade quiet with me for the cacophony of tasks, notifications, and other distractions. It's not always necessary to cease praying in order to lower your defenses. Sometimes it's just habitual prayer without any spirit. Your mouth repeating things while your heart is elsewhere is what it is. It's thinking, "It's not for me," after hearing a promise. It means being both physically and spiritually present at the same time. And He is the answer to it. It becomes a part of your daily routine, creeps into your thoughts, and occupies a designated spot in your spiritual house. And you're not even aware of it. You have the impression that something has changed. That the fervor has diminished. That trust has faded. You are not as affected by its presence as you once were. He does not wish to frighten you. He wants you to believe that all is well. That this fatigue is typical. That this distance is just temporary. That despite your weakness, you remain powerful. He persuades you that this is only a fleeting moment. And it gets stronger the longer you believe in it. It occupies room. Continue to occupy what was mine. It gives you a little sense of comfort, but it robs you of your spark. Distraction is provided, but depth is lost. The movement diverts your attention, yet the goal is lost. However, I would like to know when you last put everything else aside to listen to me. When was the last time you felt my presence and sobbed in my company without speaking? When did you notice that your heart wasn't burning as strongly as it once did? I'm not blaming you with these questions. Please wake up for me. Because He will keep taking without your knowledge as long as you are sedated by this fake tranquility. You have time, son or daughter. This door can still be closed. What has been extinguished can yet be rekindled. But now is the time. No later. Not when everything is quiet. Now, in the midst of all of this chaos, all of this noise, all of this nothingness. For it is here that I often give birth to the new. It is not necessary for you to fix yourself first. You just must quit acting as though nothing is wrong. Pretty prayers are not necessary for me. I need the real deal. From a heart that is broken. I lost myself, but I don't want to be far from you, says this person. You weren't born without faith, you were meant to walk with me. You were created to bear my presence, not to cling to recollections of your past emotions. You were made to live in close contact, in revelation, and in intensity. Don't settle for a superficial existence. Don't take it for granted that you have this man inside of you. He is not typical. He causes destruction. And you make the decision to stop feeding him today. Comment right now if this word is waking you up. 7777. Right now, this number represents spirituality. The perfect cycle is represented by the number 7. A total rupture with what separated you from heaven is symbolized by 4 sevens. Making a comment is not superstitious. It is a prophecy. It has to do with placement. When you write 7777, you're taking a leap of faith and showing that you understand. It's saying, I'm giving up the lies. I'm opening the door of the soul to God again. The door is about to close. And the realm that has always been His is being replaced by that paradise. You could have thought a lot had been lost. You may look back and see that the joy that came from the Spirit, that desire for living a purposeful life, that fire that one day helped you rise with faith. All of this faded over time. Indeed, the adversary made an attempt to destroy it. He attempted to steal, take over areas that belonged to me, and enter seemingly innocuous thoughts, but gradually his light went out. However, I'm here today to remind you of something that alters the entire narrative. Time is still on your side. Everything can be restored in time. You have a seed inside of you that hasn't perished. It may be buried by weariness, quiet, or the falsehoods you held. However, she is still alive. Because I have given you my promise, which the enemy cannot take away. Furthermore, I am able to open your eyes despite his attempts to blind you. I can reignite the spark even if he attempted to steal your trust. He may have convinced you it was too late, but I tell you now, the restoration period starts now. But pay close attention. This isn't a given. Inertia is not the cause of it. A choice must be made. Positioning is necessary. Just knowing he went in is insufficient. You must decide that he will go. You must give me the key before I can close the door. I only enter where I am accepted, so you must say, "Come in, Lord. Take back what's yours." I only make things better where I can be there. I only repair when someone's heart is open to my guidance. Additionally, you don't need to be strong to achieve this. Don't believe that everything must be resolved before you come to me. I wasn't here to ask for strength you don't possess. I come to give mine. Don't fight by yourself, please. I'd want to battle you. I would like to lead the war you were unable to win. I want to seal off every opening, entrance, every area that the adversary has taken over. I wish to restore your eyesight, cleanse your head, and revive your faith. I want to remind you of who you are in me and restore your identity. You were not made to exist in quiet, my son and daughter. He wasn't made to live a dull, everyday existence. My presence was meant to be with you from birth. Because it honors the God of the impossible, it is good to dream of the unattainable. To wake up each day knowing that paradise is walking behind you. I'm here to remind you of everything, even though this man temporarily caused you to forget about everything. To bring back to life something you believe to be dead. It's a significant day. You're going to close the door today. With spiritual authority rather than bodily might. You don't have to yell. You must have faith. No one needs to be persuaded. You must stand in front of me. Because I do what no one else can do when you give me authority. The quiet adversary was expelled by me. The weight he left behind is lifted by me. I purify your home's air. I expose the falsehoods he sowed. And I repair all the damaged areas. But the first step is to decide to stay. Hold on to the very end. Pay attention to what I have to say. As I haven't done yet. You are not yet aware of the depth of what I am creating within you. From inside, you are being repaired. Heaven is being aligned with your spirit. Your spirit is once again alive. You can see with your own eyes. As you listen to me, something is moving. A spiritual movement that will alter not just your inner self but also your surroundings, daily schedule, house, and past. Additionally, if this word has already begun to affect you, share it right away with someone who needs to shut that door as well. You have no idea who is being robbed in silence, who is about to give up, or who is unknowingly surrendering to the adversary. Act as a conduit for restoration. Respond. The light that has come to you multiplies. Because you drive darkness out of someone's life when you speak the truth. Additionally, the same God who is currently repairing you will also do so through you. This message should not be held. Like someone rekindling a flame, spread it since the triumph and the fight are not only yours. The enemy is more interested in your faith than anything else, my son. Because he is aware that nothing can stop you as long as she is living inside of you. He can attempt to take away your aspirations, drive, and physical prowess. However, you will always find a way to go on if your faith is strong. Because of this, this man's preferred target is his religion rather than his feelings, money, or relationships. Because everything is based on faith. It is the key that unlocks heaven's doors. In times of conflict, the soul is kept alive by the fire. And he won't have to do anything else if he can extinguish that blaze. You will start to give up yourself. He isn't removing it all at once, though. He is aware that you would notice if he did it. Thus, it happens gradually. Initially, ask subtly, is this commitment still valid? And without you noticing, what was once definite turns into doubt. Then, with gentle thoughts, maybe this isn't for me. Then, with a few conclusions, it's been so long, maybe I got it wrong. What used to cause you difficulty now seems far away. You are no longer touched by what once moved you. Silently, faith starts to wane. You no longer feel the need to pray. He no longer connects, yet he still attends church. He still hears words, but his belief has diminished. It is now automated, although it still performs all of its previous functions. Like someone who is aware of the path but has forgotten why. Like a person who has lost their fire but maintains their form. And he succeeds there. When you appear to have a lot of faith on the surface but are hollow on the inside. Thus he doesn't have to ruin his reputation. All he has to do is weaken his core. However, I can tell you now, there is still time. I can restore your lost trust. I am able to revive the smothered faith. The number of years that you no longer believe as much as you once did is irrelevant. The number of promises you shelve is irrelevant. When it appeared impossible, I am the same God who walked with Abraham. The same one who, when the people were stranded, opened the sea for Moses. The same person who stood with David while everyone else wanted him to fail. Why wouldn't I do the same to you if I did this to them? It's not necessary to have perfect trust. A living faith is all you need. Even if it is little, feeble, and shaking. I'll utilize it if it's genuine. A mustard seed of faith has the power to move mountains, change households, revive hearts, and restore tales. And if you still see a spark burning while you listen to me, know that's all I need to accomplish something truly remarkable. The adversary believed they had triumphed. He believed his religion was dead. You seemed too far away to him. He was unaware, however, that you are mine. That I am aware of every area of your heart. That I am aware of what was taken. Furthermore, I am able to give back. I came for more than simply consoling you. To rejuvenate you, I arrived. I come to put you in a new position. You were created to live with active, living faith, faith that lifts the heavens, and I come to remind you of that. But in order to achieve it, you must decide right now, allow me to reignite what has been extinguished. Avoid attempting to use your strength. Simply be willing. Speak to me. Rekindle my faith, Lord. And I will. Because you can connect to the unseen via faith. When everything around you seems to be crumbling, it's what keeps you going. It's what enables you to go without knowing where you're going, trust without feeling, and pray without seeing. When everything tells you to give up, faith is what keeps you going. And faith is my creation. I am the one that plants, waters, and nurtures it. If you are moved by this word, please like this video and follow the channel. Do this right now and let this flame continue to develop with every word I give you. This is how you stand spiritually and declare, I choose to keep my faith alive. You could even discover, my son, that your faith is feeble, little, and unsteady. However, I don't see it that way. Size, volume, and attractiveness are valued in the globe. I cherish the heart. And it will be sufficient for me to take action if you still have a spark, a breath, or an echo of hope. The faith that brings about paradise is a living faith, not a faultless one. And the reason you are still listening to me now is because your faith is intact, despite the fact that it has been harmed by time, disappointments, and quiet. I am familiar with your innermost thoughts. Every time you attempted to go on, even without strength, I could see it. I witnessed you praying, I can't take it anymore, yet you persisted in looking for me. I witnessed your soul screaming even when your eyes were dry. And it all matters. I didn't see anything. For I am the God who gathers tears and turns them into a crop. Every effort, every hushed prayer, every step made in the dark is respected by me, the God. And I want to help your faith blossom once more today. Do you recall Abraham? He kept believing even though he could see no way out. Do you recall Moses? He obeyed me despite the army being behind and the water in front. Do you recall David? Despite being persecuted, rejected, and ridiculed, he he continued to adore me and write psalms. Their faith was not flawless. However, religion was alive and well in everyone. Despite all the evidence to the contrary, they choose to trust. And trust is what I'm requesting of you today. Even trembling. Even in the absence of comprehension. Even if you can't see it. Because I manifest the supernatural when I have this kind of trust. Don't hold off on believing until you feel ready. Have faith so I can get you ready. Control does not foster faith. It is the result of giving up. When you decide to trust my word above your circumstances, it becomes stronger. When you decide to focus on me rather than the circumstance. When you declare, God is still with me, and that is enough, you raise your head despite your body's fatigue. I am, too. I stayed put. You believed you were alone, yet I was with you every day. The silences were where I was. I wasn't sure. Even when you thought I had given up, I was there. However, I never give up on my kids. I don't break commitments. I never end calls. I don't give up on procedures. What I began in you is still standing, which is why you are still here. Now examine yourself. Look inside your heart. Is the will to believe still present? Is the sigh of hope still present? Even when everything is messed up, is there still anything about you that you want to trust? Be aware that you are closer to your miracle than you may have imagined. Since the adversary was unable to completely destroy everything, he made an effort. He battled with deception, exhaustion, and diversions. However, it didn't work. Because I have the power to change heaven and earth wherever there is faith, no matter how tiny. I'll make this faith stronger. I'll educate you to trust once more. I'll take away the burden that kept you from believing. Even if victory hasn't materialized yet, I will force you to walk like someone who has already witnessed it. For it is this trust that makes heaven move. Miracles are the result of faith. It is a religion that relies on what the Spirit discerns rather than what the eyes perceive. You proclaim victory in the middle of a war because of your faith. Faith is what brings joy even in the midst of adversity. Before anything changes on the exterior, faith transforms you on the inside. And you have the right to that faith, son or daughter. When I created you, it was ingrained in you. No matter how many times you feel like you've lost, it doesn't matter. I proclaim that your faith is being restored today. I revive what was extinguished. I awaken what was immobilized. I fortify what appeared brittle. And the strength that will come from within you will astonish you. For this religion is not human. It originates with me. Furthermore, no one could take it if I handed it to you. Just keep her safe. Give it my word as food. Pray for it. And take a stroll. Because I will be ahead of you, clearing the path with each step you take with trust. Always. I am aware of your fatigue, my son. However, I'm not referring about physical exhaustion. You had a restful night's sleep. I'm referring about a different kind of fatigue. One that conceals itself behind smiles, that drains the soul even when the body is still upright, and that presses down on the chest even when everything appears to be at ease. That fatigue you strive to ignore, that no one notices, that you believe you must endure alone. The one that causes you to gradually distance yourself, stop looking, stop waiting, stop dreaming, and become mute without even realizing it. The opponent anticipates this level of weariness. It advances in that direction. He is not a loud adversary. It is a relief. You don't need to pray today, God already knows, you've accomplished so much, you can now relax, you don't need to force anything, just let things happen, and so on. It's not that you don't love me, rather, it's that you lack the strength to resist these falsehoods that pass for facts. You start to give up, believing that you are simply taking a break, but you are actually giving up in silence. And so this guy becomes a part of the place where my presence formerly resided, grows stronger in his stillness, and feeds on his halt. However, I see more than most people do. I see a weary heart that continues to beat for a greater purpose. I see this weary spirit that, despite the lack of words, nevertheless longs for me. I see this dejected soul that nevertheless knows that I am its only hope. I've come to you today for that reason. Not to ask for strength that you lack, but only to let you know who I am. Your rest is me. Your strength is me. Those who are unable to stand up for themselves are lifted up by me. Big prayers are not necessary at this time. All you have to do is be honest. Saying, "I'm tired, Dad," is sufficient. This sentence has the ability to move the skies because it comes from the bottom of your heart. Because I enter with my strength when you realize your limitations. I offer you mine when you acknowledge that you are at your weakest. Furthermore, my strength never runs out. They are constant. They never fail. They are restorative, limitless, and immortal. Don't be ashamed of your fatigue. If you feel like stopping, don't blame yourself for it. You're not weak because of it. You become human as a result. And that's how I adore you. It's not that you always succeed, but that you always return. And you return today. He came back open-hearted. Though injured, he was still willing when he returned. He came back with heavy shoulders, but he had trust in his ability to raise them. I can, too. And I will. You don't require a particular location, a certain ambience, or a spiritual retreat. All you need is this moment. Right now. From your current location. That trembling voice that yet manages to come out. I'm paying attention. I sense that you've given up. I'm coming your way. I'm renewing you right now. Removing the unseen burden that caused you to struggle through each day. Removing the buildup of suffering, inaction, and uncertainty. I'm bringing your spirit back to lightness. Because your purpose was not survival. You were made to live with purpose, presence, intensity, and brightness. You are no longer need to act fake. You don't have to keep up this facade of strength when you're worn out on the inside. You don't have to be strong for me. You must be honest with me. I assist him when he says, "Father, help me." Let it say, "Remind me why I started, Father." And I do. I will carry you until you are able to walk on your own 2 feet once more. Say, "Dad, I don't want to stop here. Because I love you with all of my heart." Never ask for more than you can provide. Never fail to locate you precisely where you are. And if you've reached your breaking point today, realize that here is exactly where a new beginning starts. Your strength's demise marks the start of my activity. Your frailty is the ideal environment for the manifestation of my magnificence. Because I become the path when you have nowhere else to go. I unlock the doors when you can no longer see a path out. I give you fresh words, new dreams, and new hope when you're at a loss for words. Enjoy this video now if this message reached you at the precise moment you needed it most. As an act of faith, not just any click. Saying something like, "I receive this rest. I choose to trust." May this small act serve as a reminder to heaven that you are still alive and that you still believe, want, and hope. Because there will always be a response as long as there is a yearning for me. Additionally, you are now being renewed. Have you ever understood the dangers of quiet, my son? It isn't the quiet that soothes, heals, and draws you nearer to me. The other, however. That quiet that makes you feel alone. That contains suffering that ought to be given up. That stifles prayers that ought to be heard. That turns the soul's cries into internal whispers and imprisons them. The adversary thrives on this stillness. He develops there. That's what he consumes. He doesn't require uncertainty or scandal. All you have to do is stop talking. Give up praying. Feelings should be swallowed. Don't tell me. Because he is aware that you remain linked to the source as long as you are speaking to me, regardless of how weak you are, how much you are sobbing, or if you don't comprehend. The fire is still going strong. Life is still alive. There is yet hope. However, it finds a place when you remain silent, when you begin to conceal your suffering, even from me, and when you stop expressing how you feel. Through the openings created by the quiet, he enters. He moves through your head as if he owns it. And gradually, it dries out your eyes, chills your spirit, and erodes your bravery. Beautiful words are not necessary for prayer. It was never required. I'm not searching for speeches that have been practiced. I'm searching for the truth. A straightforward prayer like, "Father, help me," is more powerful than 1,000 clumsily practiced words. Sincerity is what makes the skies move. Real deliveries are what break chains. The skies are opened by the profound outpouring. And I listen regardless of how weak your voice is or whether you're crying while you speak. And I get up. And I answer. You weren't made to hold everything inside of you. You weren't created to endure suffering in quiet. I created you so we could talk. To pour yourself into my presence, to open your heart, to let go of your spirit. And I don't criticize you if you've broken this practice, if you haven't spoken to me in a long time, or if your prayers have turned into brief, meaningless rants. But I'd like you to come back today. This channel is being reopened. Raising your voice despite your trembling and your inability to know where to begin. Because hell trembles when you speak to me. The adversary loses ground when you pray. Even if you lack strength, I unleash assistance when you open your mouth in prayer. The heavens line up. Angels move. The walls start to give way. What appeared to be stopped starts to proceed. Because when you use your voice to connect with me, it has power. It's more than simply sound. It's power. It is a weapon of war. It serves as a link between the supernatural and the natural world. Additionally, if you are silent within today and feel as though you no longer have the strength to pray, realize that this is not a sign of weakness but rather that you desperately need to speak with me once again. Don't let fatigue silence you. Don't let the falsehoods of the adversary make you believe that you are speaking to yourself. You never spoke to yourself. I listened to the first wail. I leaned closer with the first murmur. But I don't know how to pray anymore, you might be thinking. In such case, I advise you to just express your feelings. With your own words. When you're ready. At your own speed. Because I'll be supporting you as long as you're looking for me. Do not remain silent any longer. Stop hiding. Don't hold on to what ought to be given to me. Because the instant you choose to interrupt the stillness, an unseen force is released. And the opponent wants to stop that very thing. I offer you permission to weep, yell, whisper, and talk as you choose today. But raise your voice. Don't keep quiet. Refuse to live with your spirit imprisoned. This quiet should not be seen as the new norm. Since you were created to speak with me. That was the case from the start. Eden served as a space for fellowship. And now I want to make that happen again. Where you are, right here. Amid the suffering, the chaos, and the inner turmoil. I'm present. All set to listen. Share it right away if this word inspired you. It is also necessary for someone close to you to end the stillness and resume prayer. Respond. Keep this light shining. You were made to speak with me, my kid. I anticipated hearing your voice from the start, even before you spoke a single word. Your link to heaven is activated each time you choose to talk to me, not because I need to know how you're feeling. By praying, you align yourself with my will, alleviate tension, drive the enemy away, and create space for the supernatural to work. The opponent, however, is more interested in your silence. He wants you to think that your prayer is ineffective, that your feelings are unimportant, that I'm not paying attention, and that saying or not saying is equivalent. You begin to preserve the words once you come to terms with it. Suppressing the sobs. Silence in place of prayer. So he seeks a place to call home. It's because you discovered room, not because you have the right. Spiritual quiet is the lack of communication rather than the absence of noise. Even when you're surrounded by prepared lines and memorized prayers, that's when you cease opening yourself to me. It occurs when the heart remains hidden while the tongue talks. When living closeness is replaced by religious ritual. I'm here to remind you that your voice still has power, not to level accusations. Even if your cry is hurt, it still has power. Sincere children are what I want, not flawless prayers. There's no need to wait for the perfect time. It is not necessary for you to have everything worked out. All you have to do is speak to me honestly. Not the most beautiful prayer, but the most truthful is the one I pay the closest attention to. Say something like, "Lord, I've come back, Jesus, listen to me," or, "Dad, I don't know what else to do." However, say it. Because heaven opens with answers when your tongue opens with trust. Any word that comes from a shattered heart is not something I hate. Many believe that praying requires strength. However, the most potent prayers are really produced amid weakness. The spiritual battle starts to be won when you are in pieces yet still choose to speak. Because religious utterances are not feared in hell. He is afraid of real voices. When a wounded kid chooses to pray, he shudders. Because he loses authority there. He must back off there. I take charge there. You believe you have lost your ability to pray. However, I feel that you should simply be yourself. Communicate with me like you always have. Without shame. Don't be afraid. Without being afraid to admit when they're fatigued. He was willing to acknowledge that he considered giving up. Everything is audible to me. And I read the heart in every word you spoke. It makes no difference whether she speaks firmly or sobs. She ascends to my throne if she is truthful. Anna's strained, nearly silent scream was the way she ended years of infertility. David spoke to me in the midst of suffering when he penned the Psalms. Many of my children had miracles in this way, their souls were revealed, not flawless language. I want to hear you immediately in that manner. Because the presence returns to the dwelling when you pray with honesty. The surroundings shift. The mind relaxes. Faith is revived. And know that nothing you spoke to me was lost, even if you felt that your voice was no longer heard. No prayer was disregarded. Even those you didn't complete. Even those carried out in private. And now, if you choose to speak again, you will experience something you haven't felt in a long time, my response. I'm having fun. I am regenerating. If this message resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel right away. Here, I will keep guiding you, supporting you, and reminding you of your identity in me. I know precisely where you are, my son. I am aware of your recent emotions. I am aware of the daily struggle you face, even when no one else is around to see it. And no, it is not the reason I left you. I'm actually closer than you realize. I am right here, at the heart of your weariness, perplexity, and inquiries. I'm here to remind you that you still have the ability to fight, despite what the adversary attempted to convince you otherwise. Being exhausted is not a sign of weakness. Feeling weak is not a sin. You are not any less of my son or daughter because of that. Accepting that it is your last destination is the error, not being exhausted. The error is to allow coldness to become the norm, solitude to become a haven, and quiet to become a home. The adversary is aware of this. He behaves silently because of this. He brings resignations under the pretext of leisure, not controversies. He wants you to quit. I hope you agree. That's just how it is now. You could respond, but that isn't the case. You weren't made to be a passive person. You didn't just exist because I gave you life. I created you to live with a purpose, passion, fire, and desire for my presence. I endowed you with spiritual awareness, perception, and heavenly authority. And I come to reignite what you extinguished, even if you don't see any of this now. Because the adversary cannot take away what I have placed within you. He may attempt to dunk. You may try not talking. However, it cannot be cancelled. Because I have left a lasting impression on your life. You believed there was no more reason to fight, so you gave up. That nothing you prayed for came to pass. That all of your beliefs were unfulfilled. That all the work seemed to be for nothing. However, I can assure you that nothing was in vain today. Every cry, every entreaty, and every time you decided to persevere was tallied, documented, and preserved in my heart. What appeared inert is now being activated by me. Your voice, your fortitude, and your faith are being summoned back. Because the days of merely getting by are done. It's time for a revival. Breathing is only one aspect of reliving. It has a purpose once more. It's a hopeful awakening. It's waking up knowing that you're not alone, even when you still don't fully grasp everything. In order to relive, one must dream anew, want for my presence once again, and seek me out as someone who is aware that they will be discovered. And while you listen to me, this is taking place right now. I'm giving you an inward touch. Areas that no one is aware of are being restored by myself. I am dismantling barriers you were unaware you had constructed. You remained silent in an attempt to shield yourself from yet another annoyance. You moved away in an attempt to avoid setting expectations. You calmed down since you felt that it could be best to quit feeling. However, I did not do this best. The one who benefits from his quiet gave this best. And he can't stay any longer. Because the adversary must go when you begin to return to me, when you begin to search again, when you choose to get up, even if it means getting down on your knees. You don't have to be perfect for me. All I need is for you to desire to return. I'm already moving when he says, Father, I'm still here. Because I've already won the battle you believe you're losing. I've already mastered the battle that appears to engulf you. I am now returning you to my presence, which is where you have always been. When grace is the only thing present and blame is absent. Where there is just calm and no fear. Where there is simply rest and no weight. There is just light and no darkness. You are still capable of fighting. Even with minimal. Even hurt. Even brittle. And I'll multiply if you struggle with what little you have. Your almost nothing will become an unbreakable strength thanks to me. I adore you, not because you're deserving. Since I choose you. Because I see something in you that you no longer even see. Most importantly, you don't have to battle alone, you can still fight. You and I are arguing. I'm in the lead. Additionally, I'm already unlocking previously closed doors. Breathe deeply now. Feel life coming back. You may sense the spirit enveloping you and reminding you of your destiny. That the suffering is not the only thing there is. That your past experiences do not always dictate your future experiences. Because your tale is being rewritten by me. And today, right when you made the decision to listen to me once again, is when this new chapter starts. Keep going. Don't give up. Proceed. Because I'll lead you to places you never thought possible if you only take one more step. You are still capable of fighting. I'll still demonstrate why it's worthwhile. I must tell you something today, my son, something has been going on inside of you for a while but that you may not have fully comprehended. The battle that weakens you the most doesn't start with regular hardships or outside circumstances. Your thinking is where it begins. The adversary does indeed act most forcefully there. It is there in your thoughts, in the beliefs you unconsciously embrace, in the silent voices you hear, and in the mental conversations that appear to be yours but aren't. There, he gradually plants an unseen devastation that gradually permeates everything. He does not have to yell. He doesn't think of offensive words. Reasonably, he murmurs gently. To get you to believe the falsehood, he makes it seem reasonable. You start repeating these statements to yourself when he says things like, "You're not like the others, it's been too long, what you went through was punishment, you are alone, and God doesn't talk to you anymore." First, doubtfully. Then, with conviction. And the adversary seizes territory in this manner. You don't have to yell for him. All you have to do is accept it. However, I have the power to question you today. Who taught you these things? since I choose not to go. I never said you were unable. I never said you were doomed by your history. I never said you weren't enough, that you weren't heard, or that you weren't worth anything anymore. These were not divinely inspired words. They originated from an assailant who has been posing as a thought and taking your identity without your knowledge. You start to see yourself from the perspective of accusation. Start to see stillness as a sign of rejection. Consider care to be a cost. Because your inner voice is now stronger than my voice, you start to question every promise. However, I will not stand by and let this happen. I came to wake you up today. I come to kindle a mental fire within you. I came to demonstrate to you that this way of thinking was not created by me, that I did not plant it, and that it must now be dismantled. Your life is defined by your thoughts. You accept suffering if you think it's your destiny. You distance yourself from everyone if you think you're alone. Give up battling if you think there is no hope left. Thus, your mind will always be the first battlefield. The opponent puts in a lot of effort there because of this. Because he can influence your decisions if he can influence your thinking. He paralyzes your destiny if he dominates your perspective. However, I offer you a spiritual key today. What you think about is up to you. You have the ability to filter your thoughts. Whether to spread the truth or the falsehood is up to you. And the opponent loses his basis when you decide to repeat what I have previously stated about you, think what I believe, and say what I say. It becomes disorganized. His impact wanes. I want you to view yourself the way I see you, precious, powerful, healed, and chosen. I want your thoughts to be filled with faith rather than anxiety. A location of assurances rather than uncertainty. Not accusations, but freedom. And that begins right now. A choice is the first step. When you set up a spiritual standard and declare, if it did not come from God, it does not remain in me, it begins. Anything begins when you declare, I will no longer accept any thought. It is within your power to expel ideas that I did not plant. Through my spirit, you possess the ability to purify your innermost thoughts, silence odd voices, and rejuvenate your mind. However, you must allow me to act. You must allow me to take over your thoughts. You have to allow my word to triumph over any recollection of the past, any outside viewpoint, or any spy's ideas. Since truth is a seed, it grows, blossoms, and fills every available place when it is planted. You don't have to battle your thoughts by yourself. You and I argue. I hand up the firearms. I bestow intelligence onto you. I grant you the ability to detect what is not from me. You have a choice, though. Make the decision to quit telling falsehoods today. Today, make the decision to revoke punishments you unknowingly accepted. Decide now to make the same declaration about yourself that I have made in heaven. Because you can alter the atmosphere by altering your ideas. And your entire life starts to alter as your surroundings shifts. Declare as true the following statement: if this word awakened you, I choose to believe what God says about me. This is where your mental rejuvenation starts. It's time to take an even more crucial step, my child, replacing the falsehoods that have been ingrained in your mind with the truth, now that you've started to realize what they are. Because rejecting something did not originate from myself is insufficient. The void must be filled with my message, my vision, and what I have previously said about you. Because a directionless mind is prone to vulnerability. But when my truth fills a mind, it becomes unbreakable. The choice of what nourishes your spirit is yours. Your spiritual reality is defined by the concepts you choose to hold on to, not by your emotions. And I'm urging you to purify today. To remove from your heart every word that was said in agony, every name that was given to you, every falsehood that was passed off as wisdom, and every idea that caused you to conceal your true self. It was not me who did this. And you can no longer hold on to anything that did not originate from me. Are you aware of the nuanced nature of this mental conflict? Because the adversary is aware that you would fight back if he attempts to directly take your identity. However, He will already have space to develop if he can cause you to question things a bit and accept some of the lie. Furthermore, if a lie, no matter how minor, is not exposed to the light of truth, it taints everything. However, there is good news, the light has arrived. The light is me. And there can be no darkness where I go. Everyone else is silent where I speak. And something is already taking place inside of you as you listen to me. You're organizing your ideas. Things are beginning to make sense. Clarity is also coming back. It's no accident. This is freedom. It's rejuvenation. I want more than simply to make you feel better. I wish to mend your thoughts. Because your feelings, choices, relationships, and walk with me are all influenced by what goes on in your mind. An armored mind is one that has been rejuvenated. And the first step to a protected existence that is full of direction and purpose is having an armored mind. The most difficult step has already been made by you, realizing that something needed to change. This is more than wishful thinking. It's time to take charge of your spiritual life and say, I no longer accept thinking as the world thinks. I choose to think as God thinks. This is a stance of spirituality. It involves submitting your thoughts to heavenly authority. And everything changes when that occurs. Anxiety becomes weaker. The insecurity subsides. The terror dissipates. Doubt is exposed. Because the truth liberates rather than merely informs. I am the truth, too. The one who releases with affection. He who heals by being there. The one who changes with words that provide life rather than burden. You should base your self-perception on what I say about you. Nothing less. You could have been given misinformation for years. Words of rejection, painful experiences, and failures that seem to define who you were might have conditioned it. Today, however, I make it very apparent that this is not who you are. My masterpiece is you. You are the result of a timeless scheme. You were not made to bear burdens that I never put on you, rather, you were made to mirror my image. Give it all up right away if you feel like you still have thoughts of shame, guilt, or inability. Don't hold on to it. No longer tolerate it. Change. Change it. Align. I'd want to wash your insides. I wish to rearrange your thought process. With my truth, I hope to revitalize your mind. And even your perspective on the world will shift when that occurs. Because conditions are not where the miraculous starts. It begins inside. You are not as exposed as you once were. Because you are aware that you have a choice. You realize now that you can protect your thoughts. You are now assuming responsibility for the truth. And a new journey is about to begin. A calmer, lighter, and more liberated life. Watch this video now if this word gave you power, clarity, and freedom. It is a spiritual indicator, not a habit. Every act of trust activates what has been poured onto you, as though to say, this truth is for me. And I will never go back to the lie. Enjoy it, and may its truth fill you to overflowing. No one can take anything that is signed in truth. I have something important to share with you, my son. The opponent has attempted to isolate you, which is a covert but effective tactic. Yes, he has more in mind than simply robbing you of your vision, faith, or strength. He intends to shoo you away. Avoid the appropriate folks. Take it out of communion. Those that pray for you should be avoided. People that remind you of who you are in me should be avoided. Because he is aware that a lonely spirit is more susceptible to deceit, uncertainty, and despair. The worst part is that he keeps it a secret. Under the appearance of safety, he arrives with kind thoughts, it's better to be alone. They have too many problems. No one will understand what I'm feeling. You, exhausted and injured, start to agree. He starts to go in quiet, saying, everything's fine, while, in fact, you're having internal difficulties. Stop having in-depth discussions. Favoring quiet. Hiding alone. But this isn't protection, son or daughter. It's a trap. Because you were not made to dwell alone by myself. You weren't trained to walk unassisted by me. You were created to live together, in solidarity, and in oneness. Belonging is what you're called to. To be surrounded by those who embody me, make me a reality, and serve as my earthly representatives. You begin to lose reference when you distance yourself from everyone. You begin to rely only on your own thoughts and erratic feelings. At that point, the adversary intensifies the assault. I wasn't simply talking about marriage when I stated, it is not good for man to be alone. Life was at issue. About the trip. About spiritual defense. Outside the fire, an ember extinguishes more quickly. The wolf is more likely to attack a lamb that is far from the herd. And you began to move away without even recognizing it. For grief. For letdowns. For injuries. Due to exhaustion. And I recognized each of these explanations. I observed. I sympathized with you. You are not judged by me for that. I'm going to call you back immediately, though. Go back to your communion. Return to the connections that are formed. When your strength wanes, look back to those who join you in prayer and encourage you. Go back to a place where people share my presence, where many people's faith is reinforced, and where hope is shared and multiplied. Because I only release certain things in the collective. Certain healings only occur when you give yourself permission to be embraced, counseled, and heard. I am aware that you have trusted and been betrayed. I am aware that you were dissatisfied after opening up. I witnessed moments when you felt isolated while being surrounded by others. You don't have to live alone all the time, though. You won't be understood by everyone. However, I will bring up individuals who will value you. Individuals who will listen without passing judgment. Who will offer prayers without seeking justifications. When you are unable to hear my voice, that will remind you of it. Who will accompany you, even when you are too weak to go by yourself. Communion's beauty lies in that. One raises the other there. When 2 or 3 people come together in my name, they draw my presence in a unique way. Because you get back in touch with me when you get back in touch with mine. I show up as hugs, listening, and quiet time spent together. When someone who has my spirit speaks simple words, I heal. I also wish to remove you from your seclusion today. I wish to return you to the community where you will regain your faith. Being an island is not your calling. The body is a part of you. Furthermore, a body is only powerful when its members are interconnected, work together, show affection, and take care of one another. And the adversary who formerly thrived on your loneliness totally vanishes when this connection is re-established. Now that there is light everywhere, he can't keep you imprisoned. You are being covered with spiritual voices. You are protected by the group prayer. The truth about you is being revealed. Yes, I am regaining your voice. Yes, your faith. Now, though, I also wish to re-establish your ties. Those that the adversary attempted to penetrate. The betrayal of confidence. Hope in partnerships. The delight of both caring and being cared for. I'm re-establishing spiritual connections. I'm moving you about in the body. I'm introducing you to new people. Sincere individuals. Heavenly people. People sent. Accept this reunion as a component of your recovery. And be aware that the following step will be considerably more powerful. Because you can't bear this alone anymore. I agree with you. And I'll put those who stand in for me around you. The visible power of restored connection will prevail in the invisible conflict. I shall be present wherever 2 or 3 people are gathering in my name. I'll be with you, too. Always.